Unique Mecca Audio, man. You know what time it is. I got my man here. He don't need no introduction, so I'm not even gonna do it. I'm gonna let him do it. You know what I mean? That's the big homie, Cavario. You know what I mean? Yo, calm down, relax, calm down. I know y'all happy, know that the homie here. You know what I mean? This is the big homie, Cavario. Tell him who you are, where you from, and a little bit about your legacy. And then, he wanted me to tell him one of my prison stories that I told before. But go ahead, we're gonna get into that.
Like you said, I'm Cavario. A lot of people know me from my work as a writer and a journalist. I created a publication called Don Diva Magazine, and I co-founded a publication called Hip Hop Weekly with the creators of the Source magazine, which y'all know is the first hip hop publication in existence. And I've published several books, including my autobiography, Raised by Wolves. So, writing is my forte. My background is, organized crime and transition.
Well, I couldn't write, so writing is not my forte. Talking that shit is my forte. I'm here to talk that shit with the homie.
He talked that shit with the best of them.
You know what I mean? So before I even begin, he mentioned Don Diva. I want to give a big shout out to Kevin Childs. You know what I mean? The Don Diva, he used to send me them all the time when I was locked up. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I called Kevin and tell him, y'all need some magazines. He'd be like, just send me the address. You know what I mean? That's it. You know what I mean? And, you call somebody, K-Slave was like that too, but you call somebody out there and they got something and you ask them for something, you know what I mean? They put it through like it's so complicated, but Kevin was so smooth. He just said, all right.
Well, he could empathize.
Exactly.
He understood what, you know what I'm saying? He understood what it meant.
Yeah,
it's a small gesture, but I think that's why people don't really think it's a big deal when they don't do it, because it's like, it's such a small thing he's asking for. He can't be that bothered by it.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm saying. It was just heartwarming, you know what I mean, to be in prison doing Life Plus 20 and, ask for something and they say, no problem. Just, get the address to the girl when you call. Call back and give it to the address to, whoever answer. You know what I mean? Right. And 3 days later, I got 5 Don Diva magazines. The compound going crazy because they was hard to come in, but they was coming from Kev, so you already know how the covers be. You know what I mean? So they came right up in there and we did our thing. But now, me and Cavario, I showed him my letter from the psychology department from the United States Department of Justice is the letterhead, the psychological department.
Crazy.
And, I made it out and he was giving me my flowers as far as that I made it, out, and many don't. So I started telling them about Chuck. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna tell you about a brother named Chuck from Chicago that was in the prison with us. He in Coleman, Florida. I told this story already, so y'all want to change it. But this is me and my man Cavario. I want to get his feedback on it from a clinical point of view because he worked with people with mental illness in the penitentiaries and state prisons in, South Carolina, Atlanta, throughout the country. Now, Chuck was a dude from Chicago, and he always walked around talking to himself. You know what I mean? He talking to himself and in a language that no one understand but Chuck. You know what I mean? He's like, so he'll come up to you and go, and you say something, he go, and you don't know what the hell Chuck talking about. So everybody just thought he was crazy. They called him Crazy Chuck, the lunchbox, as my homies in D.C. say, right? So now, me and Chuck chilling, and Chuck walk up to me every night. No, I chill with him. We all chill with Chuck. Listen, Chuck is official. You know what I mean? Yo, listen, Chuck is official. We used to take Chuck over to the MP3 player list where they had all the newest records and all that, and he was from Chicago. We from the East Coast, but Chicago was starting to rise with them gangster lyrics and things like that. So, we give Chuck the headphones. He put an earbud in. We put an earbud in. And we go to the headphone, and Chuck got his big belly out, all ashy with dark skin. Hair never combed. His hair was even ashy. You know what I mean?
Damn, Chuck. How you chill with Chuck?
Listen, man. So Chuck got his big ashy belly out. You know what I mean? His ashy hands. In between his hands, it looked like fish scale. Like you could sniff it. You know what I mean? Oh. That's how ashy he is because his ass was elevated off his skin. Everybody know Chuck. Not disrespecting Chuck. Keep it at 100, man. Y'all want to know what happened? This what happened. Listen. So Big Chuck now got his big ashy belly hanging over the joint, and he get the scratch in his belly, and I can't believe that while he's scratching his belly, he's scratching deeper into ash, and you can see ash flakes jumping off of Chuck's stomach. You know what I mean? But Chuck sit there and listen to the music, and he tells us the hottest music to get. You understand what I'm saying? The hottest music. And whatever Chuck pick, Chuck will play something, and they go, and look at you, and he mumbling, and you looking at him like, yeah, come on, Chuck, with that crap. Nobody want to hear that. You know what I mean? And he get back to listen to music, and he go, I don't, you know what I mean? So we download the song. Then when we go play it for the homies, they like, that shit is banging. Who's that artist? You know what I mean? How you find them joints? How you be having them exclusive joints? The whole time I'm saying to myself, good old Chuck. You know what I mean?
Well, I gotta ask, bro. What was Chuck in prison for?
To be honest, I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know. Nobody never know because I told you Chuck never spoke, my nigga. So Chuck spoke a language of his own.
How long were y'all together?
We were together for about 5 years.
And in 5 years, you never heard him utter a
no
cognitive word.
No. Everything was another language.
So he wasn't doing a Benny the Chin.
Nah, listen what I'm saying. It turns into being real questionable about that. But he was so good. Chuck went 5 years without saying a goddamn word, man. You understand what I'm saying? You know, every night he go up to everybody and say, and he rub his assy stomach, ass jumping all off his stomach. You know what I mean? So you jump back and you start laughing, and you know Chuck telling you he hungry. That's why he rubbing his stomach. So we go get him old butt naked soup. You know, a butt naked soup is a ramen soup. You could just come with the season pack, so we call it a butt naked soup in the prison. So we give Chuck
AKA sodium, death by sodium.
But listen, that joint put weight on you. You know what I mean?
Because
it's starch.
Hardened arteries.
Listen, I survived off the butt naked soups, and so did a lot of other people, and a lot of people still surviving. Man. You listen, whenever they call lockdown, we go to the store and we go buy the limit. They might give you just come 24 in a box in a case. Some jails let you get 2 cases, so you get 48 butt naked soups. So if you bunch of dudes pounding around in the yard and you see something don't look right, soon as they call your commissary, you run to the store and you go buy yourself 2 boxes of butt naked soup because you know the jail getting ready to get locked down because there's too much politic and grouping going around. You know what I mean?
That's
so
crazy,
you could be dead broke. It costs like it's 25 cents a soup. You know what I mean? So it comes to like maybe $6. You know what I mean? Like $6. So you get this much goddamn soups. You understand? This much soups for $12. So you don't care how long they lock you down, you got a soup to eat whenever you feel hungry and you're tired of eating that peanut butter and jelly or that hard ass bologna. You know what I mean? That you could put a hole in it, you know what I mean? And put another one on the end and put a tricycle on that joint, and a little boy will be able to ride on that bologna, and that joint ain't gonna collapse.
Wow.
You know what I mean? That's the prison bologna. Welcome to my world. So if you youngins want to be a part of that, that's right there waiting for you. You can come back and tell all these YouTube stories 30 years later like me. You know what I mean? So if you're smart, you stay out the game.
But let me finish. Hitting the half of your ass for sure.
Listen, let me finish tell you about my man Chuck, right? So Chuck get his little soup, he's scratching his ashy belly, chilling, and always scratch.
Does Chuck ever wash his hands?
Listen, no, Chuck take a shower every day, my nigga. But now we never see him wash his hands.
No lotion.
No, because Chuck just got the bare necessities. Chuck got a bar of soap, the last soap the prison giving you.
The last
soap, and he got a whole bunch of the Bob Barker little bottles that look like a pill bottle that they give us what in? You're thinking too long. Toothpaste. You know what I mean? Toothpaste was powder. In the prison, they give you powdered toothpaste.
Oh, yeah.
Where you wet the toothbrush and dip it in and get it on it and you brush your teeth. And that joint won't get you real white and bright. Bro. You know what I mean? Then they started getting the little tubes like this big. But Chuck, he ain't want the tubes. Chuck get the tubes when they handed them out because they handed out a limited amount. So Chuck would get the tubes, like 5 tubes of toothpaste. They said they give you 3 things of toothpaste. Chuck hit the line 3-4 times, get about 9-10 of them toothpaste, and he'll come to you and he rub his stomach, but now he got something to offer you, which is, you know what I mean? A bunch of toothpaste. Because you're only allowed to get a limited amount. So you say you feel sorry for Chuck, and it is a good deal, because if you go buy it from the store, a little tube like this costs you like $6 in the commissary. $3.50, something like that.
So how Chuck get them?
Because Chuck go up on the line and he hit the line 2 and 3 times. But the administration don't mind him hitting the line because they know Chuck is gonna go back, sell it, hustle, and they know Chuck, broke, so they figure they're giving him extra ones so that he could do whatever. But Chuck was never broke. Let's get that straight. Chuck just didn't go to the commissary. You know what I mean? Chuck used to hear his name called, and Chuck used to get a money order every month. I forgot to tell y'all the last story. Every month, Chuck get a money order. Because when they used to give you the money order, they'll bring you a yellow slip. You know what I mean? That look like a check. And they call mail, and he don't get no letter, no nothing, just a yellow money slip in the joint. So somebody out there love old ashy Chuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the motherfucker that he didn't tell on.
You know what I mean? So check it out. So Chuck come up to you, the toothpaste, you buy the toothpaste, you chilling. So that now, Chuck was in the yard, and we had this new police that come, big steroid dude, arms huge. You know what I mean? He walk around, mincing. And they think he cut like that. Chuck used to run around and pick up cigarette butts and smoke it. Chuck used to run around and pick up chew. When the police used to spit out that chewing tobacco on the floor, Chuck would be right there and pick it up in his hands and put it in his pocket. Bring it back to the unit, put it on a napkin, put it in the microwave, dry it out, and he'd go in his cell and he'll light a wick. I gotta show y'all what a wick look like. I always show them the props, Cavario. That's what these socks is here for. This was for the 20 below joint. You know what I mean? Where I use, we cut the tip off like this at the toes and cut this off and, we put it on our arms. You know what I mean? Because all we get is a jumpsuit and it's cold. So you want to cover up your forearms and your arm. So you pull the joint up and then you got your jumpsuit on and you sitting there like this all day walking around. So now this is warm because normally it's out like this. You know what I mean? So then when it get too cold, we take a pair of these. You know what I mean? Cut them down short. And we put them on the hands. And this how we walk around a unit because some jails get too cold, like Raybrook Penitentiary, because that's up there in the Mohawk Mountains in New York. So now, old crazy Chuck did, and this police come, and he don't know how to communicate, and he wasn't an asshole. I'm not even going to say he was an asshole. He just didn't know how to communicate. And from him not knowing how to communicate, Chuck out there picking up butts, so Chuck was bold with it. Chuck would be in the yard and police smoke a cigarette and throw it down on the ground. So this dude, he didn't know no better. He just came. He don't know crazy Chuck. He smoke a cigarette and he throw the butt down on the ground. So now Chuck walk over there and he tell him, and he tap his feet and pick up the cigarette butt and put it in his pocket and walk off by business looking for more cigarette butts so you get enough butts to add up to go in there and make a little joint, light a wick. Wick is where you take the toilet paper, you roll it up, you leave the end a little frilly. And you know what I mean, you take your battery with your foil. I'm gonna show y'all how to light a cigarette with a AA battery or a AAA battery. You know what I mean?
Survival.
You know what I mean? So
training here.
Oh that's man, they get it all over here. Unique Mecca Audio, my brother.
Yo.
All right. So Chuck always messing with the police. Everybody know that's Chuck, but you're not allowed to pick up cigarette butts. Anybody else pick up cigarette butts, they get a shot, go to the hole, get extra duty, and a whole bunch of crap. But they leave Chuck alone.
Why?
Because tobacco was illegal on the compound.
Then what the
but they could smoke it. Try not to curse. But yeah, police smoke it. You know what I mean? They're allowed to bring in cigarettes, but we're not allowed to smoke cigarettes.
Now that seems to me to be a recipe for a lot of corrupt shit.
Exactly. Because now police can bring in cigarettes and you tell the man, look, you know what I mean? Y'all already know, you don't know this phrase, but we got a phrase over here, Unique Mecca Audio. This means you penitentiary rich, my nigga. When you got a bunch of stamps, because stamps is money. So I'm penitentiary rich. You know what I mean? I'm penitentiary rich right now. I go get some weed, white lightning, and something to eat to lock in for the night and still have some stamps left over to do the same thing again tomorrow. So I'm penitentiary rich. You know what I mean? I could escape the madness of the prison, you know what I mean? Just by spending these stamps to go buy me some white lightning, some regular wine, some weeds. You know what I mean? I don't use it, but they sell dope in there. You know what I mean? They got everything in the prison. You understand what I'm saying? So now, you ain't allowed to pick it up when you get a shot. Chuck tell the police move, and then Chuck go back and pick up some more about somebody else, and the police go over there and tell Chuck, put it down. Chuck stand up and Chuck talk to the man in Chuck's tongue. And I remember, and the man thought Chuck making fun of him. So Look. So Chuck said something to him, you know what I mean? He might have been telling him F you in his own talk or whatever. But when Chuck said like whatever, he bent down to pick up the cigarette butt. The police tried to grab Chuck by the jacket, It's wintertime. He got on the little prison jacket. He grabbed Chuck by the jacket. And when he grabbed Chuck, Chuck tried to move and it winds up go over his head. So Chuck panics. You know what I mean? And the police trying to slam Chuck. Chuck got the coat over his head. He don't know what the hell going on. You know, Chuck crazy. So
I'm
Chuck,
sorry.
look, so Chuck, you know what I mean, bent down, picked the cop up and slammed the cop. You know what I mean? Yeah, big old cop came there, everybody looking at him like he's some type of big Hercules. Chuck slammed the man, bust him down.
Oh, steroid dude.
Yeah, the steroid dude.
Oh.
You understand what I'm saying? So now after Chuck done slammed him, they lock old Chuck up. So when Chuck, Chuck in the hole, Chuck come out the hole, but then we found out that Chuck was already over like 90 days or something like that. 60 or 90 days, Chuck was over.
Over?
His time to go home. But the administration never told him. See, everybody else, they'll go to administration and be like, hey, when is my release date? My release date coming up. How much good time I got left? All Chuck did was, so he ain't even talked to none of them. So they never even looked to see if he go home or not, didn't care. You know, because he never said nothing. They never looked. You know what I mean? But when he go to the shoe and he come out, then we find out, because that's when they give you paperwork with the DHO packet and all that, tell you what you went to the hole for and if you want to appeal it and all that.
DHO?
So disciplinary hearing officer. You know what I mean? Y'all already learned that over here. You need Mecca audio. So now...
I'm behind. I got to catch up.
All right. So Chuck comes and I see that Chuck was supposed to be home like 90 days. So I go to administration and say...
How long had he been there?
I told you, he was there with me about 5. I don't know how much he was locked up altogether. Because I met him there and I told you the nigga never spoke English. I couldn't say where you came from. You know what I mean? You know how much time you got. All I get is that nigga scratching his assy belly and me ducking goddamn ash balls off his belly button. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
So
this nigga was flaking.
Was he?
Lord.
You know, but listen, but he knew that music. You know what I mean? So, you know, long story short, to speed it up.
Must be interesting.
You know what I mean? Look, long story short, to speed it up. So I look at the paperwork. I see Chuck's supposed to be gone. So I go back there. I talk to them for Chuck, and I tell them, look, Chuck's supposed to be gone. You still got Chuck here. Then they took 28 days good time when they slammed him. You know what I mean? So I said, okay, you took 28 days from the 90 days that he's over. So that means that he's still 60 days over. You understand what I'm saying? They tell me, why are you worrying about it, huh? You know what I mean? I said, nah, because that's my brother. Come on, nobody talks to Chuck. You don't even know Chuck. Tell me one word Chuck ever said to you. Miss Chase down there told me, tell me one word Chuck said to you. You know what I mean? How the hell you know Chuck? And why is you back here bothering me, telling me I'm not doing my job? Chuck ain't worrying about going home. Why you worrying about Chuck going home? Because ain't no black man supposed to be in. If I can help him, I can help him. That's so that's where my mind frame was at. So I talked to them. So they go look at the paperwork. They come back. So they give Chuck a date for like 30 days when he had like maybe 60 days left. You know what I mean? So, you know, they should have gave me immediate release. So they just gave him going to cut 30 more days off. They took 30 and I told him they're going to cut 30. But he already over 90.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So the math don't add up. So now, old crazy Chuck, I don't remember if I told this part, but the police used to smoke the cigarettes and they take the cigarette butts instead of throwing them on the ground because they know when they walk away, the inmates going to pick them up. They throw them up on the roof. Bam. You know what I mean? Smoke the cigarette, they get burnt down, they throw it on the roof over there by the lieutenant office, because that's where they stand out. They come out the lieutenant office. They don't smoke in the building, but they smoke outside the units if they want to smoke. And the 2 police from either unit would meet up in the middle, smoke a cigarette, and kick it for 10 minutes, then go back in, make their rounds, and make sure all the cows is in their stable and acting civilized. You know what I mean?
That's crazy that they let them smoke on the compound.
Look, so now, but they're at the lieutenant office, and when they're in front of the unit, they got a little roof over the sally port, and people, they'll smoke it, and they'll throw it up on the roof. You know what I mean? But now, Chuck used to go up there every other night. You understand what I'm saying? He'll jump up on the roof. He's about 6'2". He jump up on the roof, climb up on the roof, and go get the cigarettes, but take it back to the unit, smoke the cigarettes, and he always shared with the other brothers that smoked. You know what I mean? Chuck would pull out a pocket and call you in there. He got a bunch of tobacco on the ground. Yo, listen to this, man. True story. It got gravel in it. Because remember, he had to scoop it up off the sidewalk, the cement sidewalk. So he scooped it up with his hand. His hand's all even more ashy from that. And then now he's sitting here with all of this tobacco and rocks in his hand. So when he take it back to the unit, he got to sift it out the way we used to sift out that old bullshit Jamaican weed. You know what I mean? To get the seeds out of it.
Seeds out.
You know, he's sifting the rocks out of it. And then he calling people in there to smoke with him. So dudes just want a nicotine feel. So they'll come in there, they happy Chuck done broke them down, so they'll smoke with him. I used to always see niggas in the cell smoke with old crazy Chuck. They be in there an hour with him. It only take about 30 seconds to smoke a cigarette, but they in there an hour. I'm wondering what the hell is they talking about? What the hell could they be talking about?
I swear to God, I need to know.
You know?
What?
Yeah, but they was never on no homosexual shit because they always kept the door open. Chuck kept the door wide open, so clean as a whistle, but didn't have nothing in it but the mattress. Bed never spread. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? And the toothpaste on the sink and that big ass hard bar lye soap on the sink. You know what I mean? And he got his door wide open and he's sitting there, he rolling tobacco and it's illegal, but the police walk by, see him play with tobacco, don't say nothing to Chuck. That's crazy, Chuck. You know what I mean? So
that's crazy.
I go now. Chuck goes up on the roof. Chuck goes up on the roof, and then they lock him up again to take 28 more days good time from old Chuck. You understand what I'm saying? The same 28 they said the dude was giving him. Remember they said give him a 30-day day. They took that, brought it back again. That's how they play with Chuck, right? So I go get on him, blah 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 blah, and then one day it was like about maybe 3 and 4 in the morning. You know what I mean? I'm laying down, I get a knock on the door.
They didn't want to let that big crazy out.
You know what I mean?
Bro.
Look, and he ain't asking to go out. Mm-hmm. So I go and I knock on it. I mean, he knocks on the door. I'm in the bed, sleep. Tap, 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 tap. I think it's the police, because if you got the covers over your head, the police will knock on the door with the flashlight and tell me, show your face, inmate, to make sure it's not a dummy under the mattress and you ain't trying to break up out the joint. So I hear tap, 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 tap. So I stick my hand out to let them know that I'm a human. You know what I mean? And, you know, tap, tap, tap. So I look up, it's Chuck. I go to the door, and when I go to Chuck in the door, you know, old crazy Chuck, you know, picture what he said to me. That's what you would think. But that man said, thank you. They released him, and he was getting ready to go home, and he came to my door, and the only words I ever heard him say was, thank you. Clear as day.
So fucking
Yo, to this day, I don't even know if I was dreaming or not. You know what I mean? But Chuck knocked on that door. I go to the door and Chuck said, thank you.
Bro, that's crazy.
I said, what? But the funny thing is, other inmates used to say, man, Chuck ain't crazy, man. I heard him on the phone talking to his people. That nigga was talking clear as day, and he working inside a goddamn soup every night. I ain't giving that nigga no soup, no goddamn boy. So Chuck been faking. You know what I mean? But you hear somebody say that, and, you know, you figure like they just, you know, being cheap and want a reason for not giving the soup. So now they want to accuse the man of talking. So we used to laugh.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute.
Hey, you just... Yo, true story,
you accuse a nigga of talking.
Yeah. Somebody
give me talking.
Yeah, I ain't giving him nothing else. I ain't giving him nothing else, son. He act like he crazy. That nigga ain't crazy. Niggas used to do that. We say, man, get up out of here, nigga. If you don't want to give him the soup, don't give him the soup. Chuck, I'm going to go get you a soup. And I go get a soup and go give Chuck a soup. I figure they ain't trying to give him a soup, so he accuses the nigga of talking. You know what I mean?
Yo,
said he heard him on the phone talking to his people clear as day. But it was only like maybe 2 people said it, and both of them was cheap niggas. You know what I mean? They was cheap niggas, so you assume they making up shit on Chuck, talking about they hear him talk.
Well, if it didn't break Chuck's stride, then everybody must have known what you do.
You know?
They was cheap niggas, and that's why they was doing it. Somebody would have been like, yeah, you know what? You might be right.
Yeah.
Nobody did that.
Nah, nobody did that. Just these 2 dudes. So we used to laugh at them.
Cheap.
We used to laugh at them, and that was the joke, because they tried to convince us that Chuck could talk. Now get up out of here, man. I've been here with Chuck 5 years, that man ain't never talked. And you telling me that you heard him talk.
The idea that somebody would pretend not to be able to talk and behave that way for 5 years.
Yes. Ask anybody that was in Coleman, man.
You know, I mean, you have to be a mastermind or a madman.
Listen, my nigga. Listen. Remember I told you Chuck used to get them yellow slips? When Chuck left, the police came back and said, yeah, Chuck worked all the way, and they left with about $18,000, man. All the time they said Money Man never went to the store to even buy bar soap. I told you, he used the prison soap and the Bob Barker powder toothpaste, saved all his goddamn money. But they said he left with a couple of $1,000. I just said 18. But they said he left with a couple of $1,000. But you know, to them people, $2,000, $1,500 is a lot of money. So it might have been like $2-3 grand. But they said Chuck left with a bag of money.
How much do people typically leave with?
You know what I mean? Maybe $100.
Oh, okay.
Because they spending their money.
Chuck did the thing.
Yeah, because remember, dudes living in there, week to week, they call home, tell their girl to send them their money, tell their man to send them some money, tell this one to send them some money. This week the girl send it, next week the man send it, next week the man don't send it, the girl don't send it. They don't have nothing till they go to the store, man. They get something on credit. When their money come, then they go and they take care of the store, man. That's how the average brother's living in there. But then, you got brothers that's living like how we would. You understand what I'm saying? But you see this type of living. So, it's dudes that really go through a hard time. And when they go through a hard time, if they come and they say, let me get, 2 mackerels and a bag of rice so I can get in the car with Cavario. You know what I mean? And they normally go to the store. They ask it because they generate that. But now you give that to them, and when they go to the store, they bring you back the same 2 mackerels and the rice because you're a homie. But if they go to the store man tell them, give me back 3 mackerels and 3 rice. You know what I mean? So they making a profit of a mackerel and a rice for that. You understand what I'm saying? So that was the hustle in the joint. But,
that's crazy.
Chuck, listen.
The whole economy of that is
listen, Chuck fed everybody.
The ingenuity we use on our side to be bananas, but go ahead.
Yeah, Chuck smoked with everybody. Whenever Chuck got a bowl, if I gave Chuck some, like I cook and I give Chuck a bowl, there's other brothers that'd cook and be like, man, put some aside for Chuck. You know what I mean? Of course, I'm like, man, I'm not taking to it. That nigga too ashy.
Oh my God.
And
he might start scratching.
Yeah, but
once he started scratching,
oh man,
I'm fading. I'm fading.
But don't think I'm making fun of him. It's just funny. You know what I mean? Especially looking back at it. And I know Chuck over there in Chicago watching. Somebody hit me up and said, hey, I'm crazy Chuck and I'm chilling in Chicago in one of the comments. So look under the Chuck video, you see somebody said, I don't know if they was really him or not. Cause I told you the nigga never talked and I damn sure ain't never seen him right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know if it was him or not. But somebody did hit me in the comments and said they was
Chuck. He obviously was cognizant, bro. It's obvious. If he left with the bread, if he had the wherewithal to maneuver the way he did to keep from having to spend his resources and degraded himself, it just shows how little regard he had for everybody else, that he didn't care how he looked to those men.
Man.
He meant to do what he meant to do. And what y'all think?
Yeah.
Because he gonna leave here in a certain condition, and anybody who's that meticulous is definitely gonna do whatever they said they're gonna do when they get out. They gonna do that. That's what's making them able to do everything they're doing. You know what I mean? Because that's crazy as hell for somebody to be pretending to be like that, bro. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what it is, man. When we in there, we thinking, and but we used to have fun. We snap on each other. You understand what I'm saying? We snap on each other all the time. And, sometimes you can snap on somebody and hit a nerve. Because, I remember I had to, I put a knife in a couple of dudes for teasing me about my reading. You understand what I'm saying?
Really?
Yeah, you first get locked up, niggas talk. I used to go to dudes and tell dudes, I do stuff like, yo, Cavario, check this shit out, son. Look. Could you believe that shit? Yeah, yo, read that shit out loud. Read that shit out loud, man.
Wow.
And then you read it out loud. And you think I'm bringing you into it, but that was my way of manipulating you to read something for me.
To keep you from knowing.
Yeah. So then you had dudes now that'll be like, damn, nigga, you always like, you be talking to somebody and I roll up on you and I'm old impatient, nigga. I'm gonna keep it 100. So I just roll up on him while he talking to somebody 3 days later. And I'm like, yo, come on, check this shit out. And whoever you talking to already know, man, this is unique. He always bringing shit to Cavario to read. You understand? Cavario don't care nothing about that shit that nigga bringing. You know what I mean? That's how they looking at it. Because he don't. You know what I mean? But, just because he's my friend, and I say, man, check this out. You know what I mean? Read that out loud. Then after they read it, then they be like, and what? You know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to get from that?
Right.
Man, you crazy. I can't believe you didn't see that shit. Man, I'm out of here. But now I know what it said. But people, like if you talking to somebody and I come up and I do that, you know what I mean? The person would be like, come on, Unique, man. You see us talking, man. What the fuck? You can't read? You know what I mean? Like, you read it. Why you keep telling Cavario to read it? You know what I mean? And I had such a complex. It's like, I'm going to kill this nigga. Who do you think he talking to like that? It felt like he stabbed me. I never admitted I couldn't read. You know what I mean? But now he got a mark on his back. So anything he did, you know, I'm gonna put the knife in him and make it about that instead of about that he disrespected me and figured out that I couldn't read. You understand?
Oh, I understand.
And now he laughing. So, I mean, these are the struggles that I went through. So I tell you, youngins, man, you ain't trying to go through that, man. I used to take my letters to ADX to my man. And like I say, when I talk that, my big brother didn't even see my prison story videos yet. But I know he going to look at them now that I got his ass on here.
No doubt.
You know, but when you look at these prison stories, when I tell my stories, you know, I don't name drop. If I speak about somebody's because I know them and I'm trying to reach out to them, or I talk to them and they gave me permission to speak to them. Like we spoke about David Hyde today. Mm-hmm. I called his son last night. That was I had to speak about David and me.
Moved.
You know, drug activity. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so nobody can't say that I'm putting it out there because everybody know that's what he was into. No, his son said I could do it.
That was a classic move.
Yeah, because that's his son. I'm not gonna put his father business out there.
Cats don't know better.
Yeah, come on, you know.
These days, they don't know better, bro.
Oh. So now, you know, just them making fun of me made me really want to do something to him. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm looking for any little thing to get him now. But Bernard Goins, as I was saying, is a dude that I was in ADX Supermax with. Met him in 1996. From I got to ADX, he looked out, sent me down some food, and you know what I mean? Because your property don't come till months later. So Bernard.
After you arrive?
Huh?
After you get
After you arrive, you're going to get your property for 2 months later sometime. Sometimes 3. You know what I mean? If you keep asking them, they're going to push it back to 4.
Bro.
You know?
I mean, those little things. Keep your train of thought right where you were. You know what you was going to say?
What? Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Those little things right there, the little things, like not being able to access the things that belong to you at your will and when you want. Whatever that feels like, anybody who hasn't been incarcerated doesn't know what that feels like. They might know what it looks like. They might think they know how they would feel or how a person experiencing that feels. But unless you've been through it, you really actually have no idea the deep impact of something as subtle as, yeah, you can't get your shit until, you know, we want to give you your shit.
You know?
You know what I mean? Like, this, it's like, yo, what have they done to me? How did they get me in this? This can't be. They did
and then
this
they
to
talk
me.
Breezy to you.
They did this to me.
How many times you gonna ask me about your property?
This.
How many times you gonna ask me about your property? When you gonna give it to me? That's what I'm telling them.
Right.
And now they looking like, oh my God, he's challenging me. You know what I mean? He's one of them. It's a movie I seen when I was a kid called They Lives with Roddy Piper.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Remember when they put the glass on?
Yeah,
you can see who they are.
You
understand what I'm saying?
Keith David.
Yeah. So remember when it went?
Right.
Yeah, Roddy Piper. It was Roddy Piper. I don't know the black dude name. Yeah, I don't know the black dude name.
David, I think.
All right, so remember when Roddy Piper?
I got that on VHS.
Oh man, y'all got to get a copy of that. Remember when Roddy Piper put on the glasses? You could see the people, and he went in the back and he saw them that they was really Martian, so he saw through their exterior. You know? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the same way they looked at him, and they was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? He can see through us. You know what I mean?
We got one that can see.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the way it played out. That's how it was when I say, nah, but when you gonna give it to me? They don't expect you to say that. They expect you to cower down and say, okay, I'm sorry. When would you like me to check back with you? I'll let you know. They hold and sometimes your property be there after a week, 2 weeks.
That's another thing. That right there. Having to deal with that right there and have to manage that, you know what I'm saying?
Listen, man, they consider me as a
cats don't have nigga. That. They don't have the way. They can't manage themselves in open society when it comes to dealing with conflict and challenge. Like you imagine being in a situation where you're trapped in such a way that you have to manage yourself through something like that, and you have no experience whatsoever. You've been reacting to that and slights lighter than that, like to the fullest degree, like. The psychological impact of that is something that cats really don't at all take into consideration.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
But, you know, I made it through it. That's what it is, man. Let me tap out. I had my man here long enough. I just want him to see what I do on the prison story. So this is how we do it. We just kick it, you know what I mean? And people ask their comments, and I spend all day responding to the comments when I'm laying down, and I respond to all my comments. That's why I tell them if they got any negative thing to say, and this is what I tell them, and I'm gonna add something to it with my big bro here. If you got anything to say, feel free to put in the comment. Feel free to voice your opinion, but don't be disrespectful, because I don't want to disrespect you, and I'm definitely not gonna allow you to disrespect me. You know what I mean? And you could disagree with me, but say it with respect. Nah, I don't agree with that. You dead wrong, Unique. I can deal with that. But don't come on there and say, oh, you faking, you wailing and all that. Because I'm telling you, I got no tolerance for bullshit. You know what I mean? I just automatically block you. You know what I mean? Fair. And I check my thing and I'm one less subscriber that I don't need, because I'm not going to have one bad apple trying to spoil my whole bunch because people come to my comments and put positive comments and ask me legitimate questions. You understand what I'm saying?
And you got to be available to those people.
And I got to be available to them.
You can't let the suckers ruin the party.
So the same way your teacher used to put you out the class, consider me as your teacher, and I'm putting you out my goddamn class.
Right.
You know what I mean? So any disrespect, there's no tolerance for it. I'm blocking you. You know what I mean? And no disrespect. But you don't need to be on my channel. I don't need to be, having you on my channel. Because I'm not going to have you disrespecting me, and I'm not going to disrespecting you. So instead of responding when I see the bullshit, I just block them.
That's it.
You know what I mean? I just block them.
Create
another name and come back.
I did warn you about this stuff.
Yeah, no, you warned me about all that. But that's how I know how to do it.
I said, this is what is happening. This is what it is. Like, these people are interjecting themselves into all type of circumstances they got no wherewithal about whatsoever. And they got strong opinions about something they know nothing about at all.
I'm the one that walked around on an ice floor in a cell 23 hours a day for 2-3 months. And they gonna say something slick, you know what I mean? Come on, my nigga.
And you know why it is that they feel free to do that, because there's no accountability.
Exactly. But the accountability is I'll block your ass. Yeah. You know what I mean? No disrespect. Yeah. So don't say I didn't tell you, so you could get your one shot off, but you ain't never got to worry about seeing this channel under that name.
Yeah, it is recourse. Yeah, you ain't got to worry about getting your head popped off. That's true, and that's good, and that should be the case. You shouldn't have to worry about that, even though you acting like an antagonistic sucker. You know what I mean? But the burden of responsibility falls upon those of us who know better. You know what I mean? So you, being the person that knows better, you got to do the thing that exemplifies what they should be doing.
Exactly.
That's the big homie shit. Right?
So instead of responding, I just block him. It's like, go ahead, man. I don't even want you.
That's it.
Go ahead about your business.
That's how you manage conflict.
And I'm not going to disrespect you back. Y'all never see me disrespect nobody on my channel. If somebody says something that I don't like, I'm going to take it off. And the rest of the people might have seen it and didn't see it as like that. But if I feel it's not appropriate for my channel, that's it. So when you respond positively. If you want to ask a question about the video, share a comment, share a statement, you know what I mean? Make a joke, whatever. But don't be disrespectful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Respect go a long way.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a word that means something to people who have character. If you don't have character, then it's just a word. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of people never had respect. Mm-hmm. They barely had recognition. Like, a lot of people definitely feel like they are invisible, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, didn't you encounter that when you were doing the extreme degree of psychological and cognitive training that you were doing while you were? You got 3,500 hours.
Yeah, most definitely.
3,500 hours, 3,500 hours of psychological training. Mm-hmm. It's a clinician.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to do better so I could show my children better.
That's right.
Because if I drop dead, I want them to just be able to run around and say, my father was a gangster. He had 30 cars and he made millions of dollars and this and that. Right. And he lost every goddamn thing and went to jail like a goddamn fool for 26 years and wasn't there for them growing up. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Real talk.
Let's not forget the other end of that. So that's why I tell the youngins, don't get involved, man. It ain't worth it. Don't get involved, man.
But you had to get your mind right in order for you to get your understanding about that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That came over time, because I sold heroin in the prison for at least 10, 12 years. Easy.
Really?
You know what I mean? And nobody couldn't stop me. Like I said, Guy Fisher, you know what I mean? William Underwood. They tried to talk to me in Allenwood. I didn't want to hear that crap then. So I know a lot of these youngins don't want to hear that crap. You know what I mean? But I heard it.
Yeah.
But I heard it.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to hear it.
Right. You didn't want to listen.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I was listening. I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I heard
see
it.
that.
Meaning past tense. I heard it and it was gone, but it was locked in my mind. 10 years later, 8 years later.
The experience kicked in.
Then it kicked in what they were saying when I'm sitting in a hole and nothing changed. And they told me, yo, you're just going to wind up going on investigation. They're going to keep transferring you, taking away from the family. Man, I don't want to hear all that crap. But now they done put me in a hole, took me away from my family, did everything that Underwood and Fisher said. You understand what I'm saying? Now, all of a sudden, I want to sit there and be like, damn, them old ass niggas was right. You know what I mean?
So is that what it was when they were telling you didn't think they were right?
Man, no, I didn't want to hear it. If I'm telling you, I didn't care. The same way you say these young people out here, you can't talk to them. They don't care. They're going to keep shooting and killing and doing carrying on. You know what I mean? Because they don't care. I didn't care. I didn't have a feeling, a thought, an inkling about it. I don't want to hear that shit, old man. You know what I mean? Yeah, how many bags you want? You know what I mean? I keep it moving. But that's where I was at. I just didn't care. But I heard them. And I locked it in my mind. And after going through my trials and tribulations over the next 5-6 years, you know what I mean? Then what I heard started coming to my conscience and I'm putting it together. And I'm like, man, them old ass niggas was right, man. Look at me. I've been in these people hole. Every goddamn jail I go to, I wind up in these people hole. Not for a shot, for investigation. Till I finally said, man, I'm done. You know what I mean?
You just gave up your business?
You know what I mean? Yeah, because it was just something to do. I didn't really need it. It was just something to do, just an unbeaten administration. You know what I mean? It was just something to do.
You know, that's interesting.
You know? Yeah, I didn't care about the money. It wasn't so much about the money. I mean, I liked the money. I needed the money, but I didn't need the money.
Why was that still so important?
I don't know. I just didn't care. You understand? I just felt like I didn't want to feel like they won, like they stopped me, even though I knew I shouldn't have been selling drugs, but I wasn't thinking about stopping, and I definitely wasn't going to let the administration tell me to stop, because they my oppressor. Even though, you know, so that's why when Underwood and guys started talking to me, you know, telling me to stop, that was like the officials telling me to stop. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, but now I'm beating these niggas. Screw them. You know what I mean? I'm getting my get in. You know what I mean? And they shake my cell down, wake me up 5 o'clock in the morning in the cell while everybody else sleep. They come in there 20 police deep, thinking the nigga might have, you know, left his little stash of heroin in the locker, on top of the locker, or might have just been up cutting the dope, or, you know, or getting high, and they try and run in and catch you when you sleep the same way the feds out here try and run up and catch you. You understand what I'm saying? You know, this is how we living in jail. If I tell the youth it ain't worth it. And I always give them that positive message in between these crazy stories, because I wanted them thinking I'm bragging. I'm just letting them know that's where I was at. Because there's a lot of youngins out there that's hustling, that their parents got money. You know what I mean? They may even have a good job, or capable of getting a good job through a friend, family, or whatever. But they don't want it.
That's a very common thing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So it was the same thing. Like, they don't need the hustle, but they hustling. And they buy a Mercedes-Benz from it and doing good. But they don't need it. They could have dealt with their family member, got the job they want them to offer, made money to go ahead and do what they got themselves.
It might have taken a little longer to get to the fancier things, but...
No, but they would have enjoyed the ride there, because they had enough to still do everything.
They never think so. They never think they're going to enjoy it. That's why they can't wait.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, that's where it is. But we've been on here too long, man. I want to give Cavario his joint. So that's our prison story for the day, man. You want to tell him anything, Cavario, before we go?
Remember, think critically so you can live wonderfully. Peace.
Peace. That's what it is. That's what I'm talking about. The big homie giving jewels. All right?